Hello and welcome to Dalton Does DevOps. My name is Dalton and this is episode 4 of our series AWS CDK A to Z. In the last episode where we left off was we just added props to our S3 bucket, so you can see that here. And what I thought would be a nice flow on from this is we would like to actually deploy the stack that we've made now. And in order to do that, we need to have a setup AWS account. So the very first episode did say you already have an account. So what I want to do is just do a little bit of best practices for the root account. And then we'll create an IAM user and some access keys, and then we'll dive into it. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to aws.amazon.com and click the sign in page. Now the first stumble or the first roadblock that you might encounter is it defaults to the IAM user sign in page. Now if you're logging in with your root credentials, this is not the page that you want to be on. You actually want to click on the sign in using root user email button. We now want to sign in with our root user credentials. So I will blur this out, and then it's going to ask me for my MFA. Alright, so now that we're signed in, you may be wondering why my homepage is dark and yours may or may not be. If you'd like to change the theme of your AWS console experience, all you need to do is click this little cog icon up here, and then you can choose between dark, light, and browser default. I prefer dark mode, I think most people do. So with that out of the way, what you're going to want to do to secure your account properly is you're going to want a very, very, very strong password, like over 40 characters. The best password practices, symbols, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, not easily guessable, use a password generator if you can, all the good stuff. The other thing that you're going to want to do is if we navigate to security credentials, and this is where you do view the security credentials for your root user, even though it takes you to IAM, it's not really in IAM because you'll see that I'm not actually in any tab here. So what I like to do is I like to secure it with 2 MFA devices that are not the same device or on the same device. So you could use like a hardware key, you could use a pass key, you could use a virtual MFA device. As long as you use 2 that are different on different devices as the biggest thing, that is the best. Because if you think about it, what happens if you only use MFA, for example, on your phone? Say you've got a virtual authenticator, it's on your phone gets stolen. Then what? You might have backups, you might not have backups. Then you're kind of in trouble and you got to deal with AWS support to try and get back in. Same if it's a password manager. What happens if you lose access to your password manager? It's got your pass key in it. Same problem. Same thing with a hardware key. If it just stops working, if it gets destroyed, if it gets stolen. So if you have at least 2 different ones, you're mitigating the likelihood that you will not be able to log into your account. So if I lose my phone, I've still got my pass key. If I lose my password to my password manager, I've still got my hardware MFA. You get the idea. So always use at least 2 different ones. Now, with that out of the way, what you're going to want to do as the first thing that you do when you log into accounts, you're going to want to create an administrator IAM user. And the reason for this is because aside from a very select few actions, like closing the account mostly, or paying a bill potentially, you're never going to want to log in as the root user. So, and that's just a security thing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a user And we're going to call it Dalton does DevOps IAM user. I'm going to provide that user with access to the AWS Management Console. We're going to just create an IAM user, nice and simple. Custom generated password. And make sure that's nice and secure as well. And you can do user must create a new password next sign in. If it's your user and you've already randomly generated the password and you've already saved it and whatever, you don't need to worry about that. So now we need to add the user to a group. Now, if this is a brand new account, you're not going to have a group, so we're going to go through that now. So we click create a group, and we're going to call this administrator access, and we're going to give it the administrator access permissions. So if we have a look at that, administrator access permissions, you can expand this and have a look. It basically has the ability to do anything. So all actions on all resources. So we create that user group. And then we're going to add our user that we just created to that group. And then we're going to click create user. And we don't need to share any of that because, well, I know what that is. You may want to share that if this isn't for you, this is for someone else, so you may now want to share this info with them. And it will actually warn you if you don't click the reveal for the console password, but I have looked at it. So now that we've done that, we're going to log out of our root user and we're going to log back in as our IAM user. So we're going to log out, we're going to click sign into console. And now we're actually on the right page. So IAM user sign in. So if you have your account ID handy, that would be good. So account ID, and then the username that we just created, and the password. And you'll notice that it doesn't ask for MFA, it's because we haven't created one yet. And as the very first thing that we're going to want to do. So to do that, we're going to navigate to IAM. We're going to go to users. And you'll see up here, we're signed in as Dalton does DevOps IAM user. If we click on this user and we go to security credentials and we click assign MFA device, you pick whichever MFA device you want to use, give it an appropriate name. So yeah, for the sake of time, DD MFA, and this can be anything, whatever you want to do. It's not as important that this user has at least 2, but you can do at least 2 if you want to. So I'll set this up and we'll be back in a second. Fantastic. So now you can see I've created my MFA device or my MFA authenticator for this user. Now we can actually get to the deploying to the account part, which is the big part. So we might split that up into episode 4 part 2, Electric Boogaloo, just in the interest of time, being conscious of the time. So I will see you guys in the next episode. If you found this useful, please feel free to like and subscribe, do all the YouTube algorithm stuff, and I'll see you in part 2.